Buying in the right area is one of the most lucrative decisions you'll ever make. And after buying hundreds of properties for our investors across the UK, I've learned exactly which areas make money and which ones don't. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 best places to buy as a beginner and what to look out for so you're not just guessing when you buy. To start, let me show you an area that used to have a bad reputation, but now it's turned into a hotspot and a golden opportunity. So for years, this city had a reputation problem. People saw it as cheap, risky, and full of bad tenants, so most investors avoided it. But while people were looking the other way, something else was happening. Jobs were growing here, the population was increasing, and rents followed, rising 8.3% between 2024 and 2025. There's certain postcodes in this city where you can get yields of up to 8%, and with the average house prices still around £181,000, it's well below other cities with similar fundamentals. Add the fact that billions have already been invested into transport, jobs, housing, and business districts, and Liverpool is no longer a place to avoid. It's the opposite, which is why it makes it one of the best places to invest right now. But before you start investing here, there's one thing you need to understand to make sure you don't lose any money. Most people think that in Liverpool, inner city apartments are the safer option because they look modern and easy. In reality, there's too much supply and the numbers only work on paper. For beginners, family homes just outside Liverpool city centre have a stronger demand, tenants stay longer, and the numbers actually work. Now, the next city is a place where the numbers are working right now and there's still room to grow. So when it comes to property, a good area always has 3 things. The first is affordability, the second is real economy, and the third is growth. If you're missing even one of these, the deal usually falls apart. So in this city, the average house price is still around £245,000, well below places with similar economies like Manchester or Birmingham. So you need lower deposits here and you've got more room for error if things don't go properly. So affordability is the foundation, but that's only good if there's a real economy sitting on top of it. So when it comes to economy, this city has one of the strongest economies outside London, worth over £40 billion. It's the UK's second largest financial and legal centre, supporting over 124,000 jobs. And when it comes to growth, the population is also up, wages are rising, and prices have increased by around 30% over the past 5 years, from roughly £184,000 in 2020 all the way up to £245,000 by late 2025. With all these 3 fundamentals lining up, that's what makes Leeds one of the best places to invest right now. So when you're looking at areas yourself, don't just ask, is it affordable? Ask whether affordability, a real economy, and growth all line up like they do in Leeds, because that's what makes an area a good investment. Now, the next area has the most potential out of anywhere in the UK, and we have the stats to back this up. So those of you that have followed me for a while will know this. I live in the Midlands, but instead of buying in my hometown, I put all of my focus into one particular part of the country. And at the time, I started investing there for 2 simple reasons: affordability and cash flow. Prices were way cheaper here. You could buy a property for £70,000, £80,000. Actually, you can still do that. And on top of that, the cash flow is strong. That mattered to me early on because I was optimizing for cash flow and it worked. Out of all of the properties I own today, 95% of them are in the same area. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, oh, you're going to be biased, and that's fair enough, but here's the thing. For years, the biggest objection people had about this area was always the same. Yeah, cash flow is great, but what about capital growth? And historically, that criticism was valid. Prices didn't move much, but they didn't need to, because just based on cash flow, I was getting my money back out in 3 to 4 years, so growth was a bonus. But recently, something's changed. I've noticed that my properties have gone up in value in just the last few years, and the data has started to confirm it. According to Savills, this area is now forecast to be the strongest growing in the UK over the next 5 years by 28.8%, nearly double London. Yes, it's great for my own portfolio, and yes, it means more people will start paying attention to the Northeast, which will grow my sourcing business. But the real reason is this: every area goes through a phase. London's had it, Manchester's had it, Leeds is in it right now, and it always starts the same way. Price is affordable, the demand picks up, the economy strengthens, and then the growth follows. That's exactly what I'm seeing in the Northeast right now. When I mean Northeast, I mean Newcastle, Sunderland, County Durham, Darlington. All of these areas are showing the same pattern: affordable entry point, strong cash flow, and now capital growth has started to come through. But not every part of the Northeast works. Just because it's cheap doesn't mean everything is going to be good. So how do you know where to invest? The reality is it's hard without local knowledge. Some areas look good on paper but don't perform, while others, they get overlooked, and we only know the difference because we've been doing it for years. So if you've got any questions about the Northeast, you can message me on my Instagram at VJ Singh, and I'm happy to help. Now let's move to the next city where the demand stays consistent and the investment is very predictable. When I think about this next city, I actually think back to when I was choosing a university. This was around 2008, 2009. I don't know, it's been a long time. And one name that kept coming up was this place. Even back then, it felt like a city that was on the up, a huge student population, things being built, loads of bars, restaurants, things happening and people moving in. But here's the interesting part: this wasn't a bubble. The city didn't just spike and then dropped off, because what ended up happening was, because the city was moving in the right direction, a lot of students didn't end up living here. They graduated, found jobs locally, rented for years, and eventually became buyers, and that same cycle just kept repeating. That's why I think of this place as a bit of a conveyor belt. Every single year, thousands of people arrive, most of them need to rent, and then a lot of them end up buying here. So the demand constantly refreshes itself, and that's why this city has one of the best rent to price ratios in the UK. Basically, rents are high for the price you pay, which is why yields here are around 7% plus. But it's not just the student population that's driving this, it's also got a growing employment base in loads of different sectors like logistics, healthcare, and professional services. And if you look at the vacancy rate here, it's at 3%, which is well below the UK average of 5%. So all of these things combined turn this place from just a student university into a serious long-term investment location. That city is Nottingham. But there is one thing I'd personally do if I were investing here, and that is avoid student-only properties. Instead, I would focus on areas and properties that still make sense for graduates, young professionals, and couples. So if you're looking for steady demand and strong returns, focus on Nottingham's family homes and professional lets, not just student pads. That way, your investment works all year round. Now, the fifth city reminds me of Manchester before it boomed and became expensive. So if you missed that phase, this one's worth paying attention to. So I actually started this list thinking Manchester would be on it, and don't get me wrong, Manchester is a great city. I lived there a year myself. There's a lot of investment happening, cranes everywhere, loads of jobs. But when you start looking a bit closer, things in Manchester have started to change a bit. The reality is property prices in Manchester are now moving faster than rents. It's one of the most competitive areas in the UK, and I never thought this would happen, but there's a lot of oversupply of new build apartments there, especially in city centre. For a beginner, the margin for error just isn't there anymore. Manchester today feels like a crowded auction, and unless you're very experienced, your returns are just going to get squeezed. Then you move one city over and it feels completely different. It's under the radar, competition is lower, but the fundamentals are still there. It's got all of the things you need in a city: hospitals, universities, manufacturing, employment, just without the bidding war. And that city is Sheffield. Now, Sheffield is one of those markets that's been improving while everyone's been looking at places like Manchester. According to Land Registry, average prices are still around £205,000, which is roughly 40% cheaper than comparable properties in Manchester. And because prices haven't run away yet, rents haven't been left behind, which is why 6.5% to 7.5% yields are still achievable in a lot of areas here. And do you remember this plan for growth? Sheffield is a growth market. It's seen around 28% price growth over the last 5 years. On top of that, regeneration is already happening. It's got one of the largest city centre regeneration projects outside London. In Sheffield, you're not competing with overseas investors, lifestyle buyers, or people happy to accept low returns just to be in a hot city. And that's why Sheffield works, because it solves the exact problems Manchester has right now: affordability, lower yields, and competition. And this is the bit most people don't talk about. Everyone understands yields, cash flow, and regeneration, but competition is is a silent factor that decides whether an area still works or whether the opportunity has already gone. There's a reason places like London, Birmingham, and now Manchester feel unaffordable. It's not because they're bad cities, it's because too many people are chasing the same deals. So the real question becomes, how do you actually spot when competition is getting too high before returns get squeezed? When an area has all three of these things at once, you're most likely late. When they're not, like Sheffield, that's where the opportunity is. So now you know the 5 best places to buy a property and what kind of things to look out for when investing here. You're probably wondering, but VJ, what are the 5 areas I should avoid? That's exactly what I show you in this video, so I'll see you over there.